Christina Brown here with the Brown team. We are getting blown up by everybody here in Jackson County because of the new tax assessments. So yes, it is an odd year. We know that every odd year they are required to reassess all of the property in Jackson County for the purpose of taxes and figuring out what the tax amount would be for everyone. So we are not seeing, it's not an increase in tax rate. It's not so much that is what's drastically affected. What it is the property value. So we know the real estate market has been very aggressive the last several years. It's very typical for the county to be behind on valuations, meaning typically what the county has properties assessed at is often less than what they are actually worth. Well, we are not really seeing those days anymore, or right now, I would say, for most people. So I have been contacted by, I'm gonna say at least 30, 40 people. I've lost count of how many comps I've done for people, but we have just been blown up asking to help people figuring out how to appeal the amount that they were given for their valuation on their homes for tax purposes. So first of all, if you didn't know you can appeal, surprise, newsflash, you absolutely can. You need to look at what your property has been valued at by the county, because you want to make sure that you are not being overcharged in your taxes and paying more than you're supposed to. Many people are getting notices that the value is way more than what they know the property is actually worth or would bring if it were on the market. So pay attention to those. Look it up. So those were all supposed to be postmarked and in the mail no later than June 15th. However, if you haven't gotten those, there is a way to access them, and I will go over that. But keep in mind, there are approximately 296,000 parcels in Jackson County. So we're talking almost 300,000 of these that have gone out. And so the county is getting blown up. They're even seeing issues with their website because there's just so many people going online. Okay, so yes, you can appeal. The big thing you need to know is the deadline. You only have until July 10th to file an appeal. You cannot walk in person or do that through mail. You must go online if you want to appeal your property value for tax purposes. So it's busy. If you have issues with their website, keep trying. I even read a tip that you will have better luck if you use Google Chrome to try to handle this online. So there you go. Now you do have options, so you can request that you do an appeal, a formal appeal with a BOE. BOE is the Board of Equalization. Keep in mind you cannot battle with the BOE or the Board of Equalization on your tax rate. You can only battle with them on your property value. The Board of Equalization are not the parties responsible for setting the tax amount. Their assignment is to figure out property values. That's all that they can really help you with. So don't try to argue how much your tax rate is. They're the wrong people. You're barking up the wrong tree. So you can file a formal appeal with them, or you have the option of requesting an interior inspection. So that's where somebody will come inside your property, walk around, especially if you feel there's so many repairs and it would be of help and it would help argue your case. Most people I've talked to is, oh heck no, they ain't coming to my house. So you may not want to go that route, but if you feel like that could help you, then by all means that is another option as well. The other thing too is keep in mind that just because you want to argue your value, it may not help you, it can actually hurt you. So you want to be well prepared, do the research, make sure you know exactly what you're talking about. Because if you do not have good comps, good proof, good information and facts, they can actually even raise your taxes when you do this, right? So the Board of Equalization will either say, hey, I suggest we lower it to this amount, or hey, I suggest we raise it to this amount, or they might just say, sorry, we feel this is fair, and they may not change it at all. So that could be one of the three outcomes by appealing. So you want to make sure you're not just appealing to appeal because you want to argue with someone because if that's the case, they could raise your taxes. So who do you contact? So here's who you reach out to if this is your personal residence. So you would contact the Board of Equalization at jacksongov.org. So again, Board of Equalization at jacksongov.org. Right? All appeal hearings are public, and they will be scheduled after July 1st. They are doing some phone interviews, so if you have your ducks in a row and you can do that, I know people that have started already talking to them on the phone and getting their values changed. So you can do it over the phone. Now keep in mind your value is what a ready, willing, and able buyer is willing and able to pay for it. So if you don't have recent comps from a sale, the other things you can use would be appraisals, but also pictures, a list of repairs needed, contractor bids. You know, if you're wanting to fight that value down and you know there's work that needs done, you have to have bids. You have to have the scope of work in order to help you argue, hey, my property needs a new roof. We haven't done it, it leaks, here's pictures, here's the estimate, it's gonna cost $30,000 to replace the roof. You need to do your research, you need to do your homework, you need to be prepared, because otherwise you could be hurting yourself. If you do not appear at your scheduled hearing, then the Board of Equalization will make a determination based on the information that you provided, so based on the facts that you sent them. You can't just say, oops, I forgot, I missed it yesterday, can I now talk to you? You've missed it, it's done, they've made a decision. So make sure you do not miss your scheduled hearing date and time. Absolutely do not miss it. All right, so here's a list of things you should think about gathering, whatever you have access to that could help be supporting documentation. So of course, anything that will help show any change in market value, like appraisals, but it has to be by a certified appraiser. They don't really want real estate agents' opinions, but we could provide comps that they could use, and then you'd have to prove it through the comps provided. You could say, hey, this one sold right up the street. It's the same size, but it's been all updated, and mine needs all this work, and there's no reason why mine should be at the same price as theirs, you know. So something that makes sense and logical, but again, in that situation, you want to provide pictures, any written estimates or costs for any improvements made or needed, any recent sale information if you recently sold, so the sales contract, settlement statement if it's already closed, if it needs work, if it's foreclosure, rehab properties, things like that, income and expense statements, rent rolls, leases, depreciation schedules for the last 3 years if it is an income producing property. So have all of that documentation prepared, right? Do your homework. You can actually walk into 1300 Washington Street in Kansas City to speak to an assessment representative. Their phone number, if you want to call, is 877-895-9675. And of course, you can also go online now, right? Starting June 15th, you can now go online and look that up. Again, that's jacksongov.org. So go on there if you want to file an appeal. But it's really painless if you do your homework and if you're sure on where your property value should be. If you're wishy-washy, unsure, you need help with comps, reach out, let us know. But don't just for the sake of appeal if it's a fair assessment, or even if it's low, because you're going to lose and they're going to raise it, and then you're really going to be irritated. So anyway, some advice, but you can't appeal. Go out there and appeal those Jackson County taxes if you feel the value is not correct. Have a great day.